Welcome to Fantasy Multifamily. We all know fantasy football. This game show is similar to that, but with multifamily investing. The host, Trey Stone, who has 30 years of multifamily experience, gives myself and Jared, the contestants, 14 different upgrades to the properties that increase net operating income. The most profitable amenities give us $300. The least profitable give us $100. Whoever has the most money by the end gets to keep it all. Let's begin Fantasy Multifamily.
Welcome, viewers. I'm your host, Trey Stone. I'm also the co-founder of Track Record Assets. Here at the company, we like to have a fun game that sometimes we might have, participants in that are investors in our deals. Today, I've chosen a couple of my teammates here at the office who both are kind of getting a little big for their britches. We're going to see which one of them really knows a little more, a little less, than they think that they know. And at the end of it, this way they've gotten to decide who's in charge without having to settle it by mud wrestling, which was the original idea, but it really messes up the office and tracks up the carpet. Nobody wants to do that. So instead, they're both going to be on the show today. So we welcome the contestants, my other co-founder here at Track Record Assets, and today's contestant, Ian Stapleton.
Thanks for having me.
25 million subscribers and 16 billion views. Apparently somebody likes this guy. I haven't met the person yet, but I hear about it from the subscription numbers. Our other contestant on the show today is our dutiful Chief Investment Officer. His name is Jared Spain. Jared, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Trey. Should be an easy win here.
This is no.
Let's do it. So a lot of you probably have seen over the years, they have fantasy football. We thought, who cares about that? Let's do fantasy multifamily. And on our teams today, we're going to choose, instead of players, different amenities. And we're going to find out which one of you knows more about how to add value to an apartment complex. And you're thinking about how you spend money, making an apartment complex more profitable, making it a better investment, and hopefully providing a better home to people who need quality workforce housing. So we're going to look at the board here. We've got a bunch of different options here on the board today. We've got gym, laundry connections, increased security, dog park, pool, playground, roof renovation, reserved parking, vending machines, upgrading kitchens and living rooms, laundromats, Tesla chargers, fenced yards, or garage storage. So just some of the different things that we've seen pop up and renovation budgets these properties over the years. We're going to figure out which ones have more bang for the buck. So any final questions from my contestants before we begin?
Yeah, are we going to be able to get a word in here at some point, or will you just be talking the whole time?
We just assumed that you were so used to talking to your imaginary friend that it was a lot of pressure for you to talk to another live human in the show. But welcome to the chat, Jared.
Thank you.
All right, good to have you. Okay, so first off, I guess since you're the closest to me, Ian, I'll pick on you first.
I get to go first. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have you pick a card. And remember, we are going to have cash prizes in these cards.
Right. So this is based on your experience. So I got to get in your pea brain.
But you can try. You can
Let me
try.
think. I'm going to say you value increased security the most.
All right.
Got it. Okay.
We're going to find out.
What is
How
it?
did he do?
Oh, damn.
Wait, that's the highest one.
That's $400, dude. You picked it out of the gate. All right.
Okay, so hold on. Why is increased security the highest?
When people are looking at workforce housing, these are usually properties that are kind of in the Class B, Class C range.
Yep.
Those are the ones that have higher yields for investors on average. This means you're not buying the latest brand new property built up in the fanciest area, of the city or of the country. You're buying properties that are a lot of times a little bit more run down.
Mm-hmm.
You get a great discount for all the deferred maintenance sometimes you find there. And that's what people are thinking about. What am I going to fix up? How are we going to make this property better? And so we do at our properties is that we're very, very aggressive about security. We install lighting that's baseball stadium level lighting. Our drone footage of our properties, which we've shown our investors before, it'll look like there was a power blackout in the whole area except for our property. And there isn't. It's just the fact that ours is that bright.
Mm-hmm.
This massively reduces crime. So for me, when I'm thinking about what's most valuable, I don't know what's more important to a person than their kids being in a safe environment. So I put that at the top.
And then that also increases income because people don't leave.
So what we do is we improve resident retention. And also by making the property a safer environment, people are willing to pay a little bit of a premium to live at a property where they feel like they and their kids are safer. So not only does it reduce turnover and thereby increase our occupancy, reduce our concessions, but it also increases the market rent for the property. So it's not only doing the right thing, it's also the most profitable thing.
So all I hear is I'm winning.
I mean, so far.
It's great to see a capitalist who is also mission driven. Such a big heart.
That's right. Quick to point out. All right, so Jared, you are next. Without further ado, what's going to be your pick?
Yeah, I think, what's most notable that's missing up there is maybe like a sport court or a basketball court would be, the ideal amenity. But I'm going to go with the obvious answer of upgraded kitchens and living rooms.
I don't see how those correlate.
Because that's something you can actually, attribute higher rent to and compare apples to apples with other properties.
All right. Upgraded kitchens and living rooms. Let's see how you did.
Oh, yeah. I forgot the cat.
It doesn't feel very heavy.
All right. It's a setup because I told you
Wait, what is
the
it?
best one already. 200. Which I'll take.
Wait, okay. Why isn't that as good as 4 or as security?
What I've noticed in apartments is that clearly having an upgraded kitchen, any upgrades you can make in the living room, those are part of our upgrades, like in the project that we're buying right now.
Yeah.
So certainly interior upgrades do matter. But I did have to kind of rank these different amenities based on the impact I thought that they would make in the everyday life of the resident, what I thought was going to translate to more rent. And hey, it was supposed to be on a scale of 1 to 3. You happened to kind of pick the cheat code, figures being a gamer, and get the one card that had 4 bills in it. But if you look at 1 to 3, 2 is still pretty good.
Still good.
Because it's a valuable way to make the property more attractive from the inside. Here's the downside of interior upgrades is that you can't really see them when you're initially shopping in the market for an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So when people are initially deciding where they're going to become what we call traffic, meaning a person is going to come in, fill out a guest card, let us know over the phone or in person, hey, I'm looking for a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, a 1-bedroom, and they're just kind of driving around their immediate area close to work. What they're not necessarily aware of is all those interior upgrades. Maybe if they've gone to our website, they've seen some pictures.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's not a 1, it is a 2. But when you're driving by, you can't necessarily see it.
Makes sense.
And there's a lot of people doing it. So even though it is an important upgrade, in my mind, it's more of a prerequisite to get to market rent as opposed to something that necessarily makes you stand out as being massively different from other people. On the other hand, not everybody's going to do what Jared picked. And not everybody's going to upgrade those kitchens, living rooms, and interiors. But there are quite a few other people in the market that have figured out and do that. So that's why it scored a 2 out of 3.
Gotcha. So after round 1, can you say that who's winning? Can you say it out loud?
Currently, Ian, I feel like, you're a little showboating here.
No.
Yes, in terms of the numbers. I mean, hold them up, guys. Let's see.
Dang.
I mean, I'm no mathematician, but I think 4 is more than 2. So, Ian, you're ahead for the moment.
Well, I'd just like to remind you that since you started buying apartments and you took a little break, people have started using this thing called the internet. So a lot of times they will just shop on the internet and want to see pictures of your units.
That is a
they won't
wild
drive
concept.
by your property.
That is a wild concept.
It's like they don't go to the bank and balance their checkbooks anymore. So,
next
agree to disagree.
Next, you're going to tell me you don't need a cord for your phone. I mean, craziness. All right. So next up, Ian, you are my next
I think since I went first,
so
he goes snake draft.
He goes next.
Okay, so now we're going to flip. All right, so Jared,
go ahead.
You're getting a 2 for here.
I'm going to go with roof replacement.
Okay.
We don't really renovate roofs, Ian. It's called roof replacement.
Roof renovation. And I think the reason we have renovation here is because this could encompass roofing repairs or full-scale roofing replacement, right? Either one, repairs or replacements. Let's see how you did.
Yeah,
I'll pass it down.
It's a good try, Ian.
That one feels a little bit heavier.
I'll write it for you in crayon next time.
So much hate.
3.
All right, that's at the top.
Okay,
bonus.
there's no way that's as good, almost as good as security.
Well, I think officially, who is winning now?
Yep.
Okay, no.
Nobody wants to say it? All right.
No, I need to know why it's better. Why is roofing better?
If you don't go up front and fix all these bad roofs when you buy the property, you're making roofing repairs, major capital expenses here on an ongoing basis throughout the life of ownership of this project. So what that does is it moves items that could have been, virtually maintenance free with a bunch of new roofs while you own the property and turned it into a 6-figure annual expense to continue to patch all these different roofs as they leak over time. So you're talking about a cancer to your income statement where you're not only eating up your income, but you're also increasing your expenses at the same time. So you're losing in both directions. So roofing is one of the most important things that you have to address, even though it's not sexy. It's not like, ooh, look at the cool sign, or ooh, look at the cool whatever. One of these things you drive up, maybe see the pool or the playground. Nobody's going, ooh, look at the cool new roof. but they're going to absolutely notice when you give them a crappy leaky roof and their ceiling is collapsing.
Dang.
Now we are back with Ian. He's back up next in the running. Let's see how you do.
I know in our deal that we're under contract, we're putting in a playground. And your plan is to walk tenants by the playground so they are excited about it. I'm going to say playground.
All right,
I'm going to say playground. I'm going to say playground.
All right.
It's got to be at least a 3. Maybe a 7.
All right. Maybe a 7. Optimistic.
That feels heavy, Jared. 3.
Another 3.
Okay.
Ooh, neck and neck between you two.
Why is that one a 3?
These families come out to the property. They want to rent from us. In fact, a lot of our tenant base here in the Houston area, if you look at statistically, the majority of the BC renters in the Houston market are Hispanic families. Mm-hmm. Hispanic families, on average, generally have more children, per household than a lot of other demographics. And so to serve the majority of the tenants statistically in our market, we want to make sure that we meet their needs and we understand their paradigm of how they see the world. And when they're looking at one of these properties, they know that they're renting this little box they live in as an apartment every day, but they're going to go to work, they're going to go to church and other things that they're doing. Their kids aren't always going to be sitting in that apartment the whole time. They're going to come out of the unit, they're going to run around the property, and they're thinking, what do I want my kid getting mixed up in? What do I want them doing if they're not in the apartment? We want to give them productive amenities that are healthy and that the kids will enjoy. And we want these people to feel like we're promoting a sense of community. So we want to give these playgrounds to them and to anybody else that might have kids or kids that visit. There's aunts, uncles, grandparents at these properties that love to see the kiddos when they spend time with family.
So I'm winning still. Again.
Yeah.
All that is a setup to just say that he was winning. Did you catch all that? It wasn't about the kids. It wasn't about the security. It's about the winning. I see how it is. All right. So Jared, you are up. What are you thinking is your next bet?
Yeah, I think the first ones are pretty easy, Ian. So might get a little tougher here for you.
For me.
I'm going to go with, it's not a lot of sizzle here, which seems to be the theme of bright colors and whatnot, but I'm going to go with laundry connections.
All right, laundry connections.
I don't know who wants to go to the laundromat anymore.
So laundry
might
connections.
Have been popular.
That's
back
inside
in your first run, Trey.
That's inside of the units, right?
All right, laundry connections.
Yes. So you can have laundry
hookups,
laundry
inside
machines,
there,
inside of
washer
your
dryers.
Got it. What are those?
Inside your
those crazy machines that mom operates for you that your clothes come out of.
Yeah.
What's in it?
Yeah. You going to check the money?
He didn't
care.
I
mean, come on.
He's
he wants to donate the money to us.
Oh, gosh.
2.
Another poorly judged.
Wait, 2 is good, though.
No, a 2 is pretty good. I mean, remember, there was only 1 4. All the other ones are 1 to 3. So 2 is one of the stronger possible outcomes. Jared, what we found for washer dryer connections is that it does definitely give us an advantage over a property next door that maybe doesn't have those, where everybody has to go to a laundromat or send their laundry out in some way. It's definitely something that people prefer to have. But again, kind of like in the other example, there are quite a few other properties, typically the vintage that we're buying now, that will have those connections. So if we had one up here that you could pick that said no washer dryer connections, that would mean you have negative money in it. That would be a big problem in today's market. But it's a benefit that's almost, again, become a prerequisite for a lot of these properties, especially if you want to really reposition the property from being a C to more of a B. You're definitely going to want to have washer dryer connections. If you don't have them and you're forever going to have everybody going to a common area laundry room, it may kind of pigeon that whole property permanently as a Class C property, maybe a C plus, and you bought it as a C minus, so you're still making money, but it's hard to really crack into that, B asset class if you don't have those washer dryer connections.
Okay. So he gave away, we don't want to choose laundromat. Got it. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, it all depends on how you want to look at it. You never know.
That was going to be my next pick is laundromat because that increases revenue.
Go with your gut.
No, I'm not doing that. Okay. I'm going to go with pool.
You're going to go with pool. All right. Let's see how you did.
It's got to be, right? Let's see.
3. Jared looked pissed when you took a 3 out.
So mad.
It wasn't a 2.
Yeah.
So this goes back to that core demographic. So when we're on that leasing tour, we're going to make sure that we go and we look through our beautiful leasing office. We're going to go by our sparkling pool. We're going to go by our beautiful playground. If we have a dog park, we might pop in there. We're looking to do anything that's going to make families come in and say, hey, this is a pretty cool spot. And again, I talked about earlier about incrementally making a property better versus not being at a competitive disadvantage, because some amenities have almost become a prerequisite if you want the property to be even positionable as a Class B asset. So not only are you serving the families, with these pools, but then on top of that, you're avoiding missing a prerequisite, a property that doesn't have a pool, because it's one of those prerequisite amenities that it's really tough to kind of elevate the property without it. So I got to tell you, Jared, so far, I don't know, 20 years in the industry, I think he objects to my valuations.
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing.
Well, I definitely should have read the email about this and not told Ian as much yesterday. His roadmap. But I'll take whatever I can get. It's been a tough market for a few years now.
All right, there you go.
All right, what do you got?
Tesla Chargers. I'm going to roll the dice here, and I told Ian this was a dumb one, but I'm going to go with vending machines so I can always get my snackies.
All right, vending machines.
I mean, that increases NOI, right?
I mean, listen, it's important for picklers to fuel themselves in between matches. So you got one of the only envelopes with negative money.
Why are vending machines so bad?
The problem is when you outsource vending, which has really thin margins to begin with, there's not enough of that margin to then really cut the property in on that revenue stream in a meaningful way. So you have an immaterial amount of income, a material amount of nuisance for the staff dealing with the complaints and the issues with the machines. So finally, I just said, forget it. We're pulling all these machines out of all the properties. We abolished them for our properties, and my staff loved me for it. They were so sick and tired of dealing with it. So that's my thesis on vending machines. Prove me wrong.
I think Jared's mad at you for that one.
Yep. Well, they have vending machines in our office here downstairs. So,
it's almost like it's not an apartment complex. It's almost like it's an office building. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, you should take a look around.
All right. Next up, Ian, you're back.
Okay. I'm going to say, since we live in 2025 and everybody has an electric car, I'm going to say Tesla Chargers. Because that's extra money. That's free space. You already have the parking spot, and then you get money for renting so it's double rent.
I love how you think that by making an argument, it will change the outcome.
Well, no, put more money in there.
So dun, dun, dun.
He's a Tesla guy from a mile away, huh?
No, I'm not a Tesla guy. It's gotta, please don't be red.
Gosh. What are the only other reds? I think there were only two. So the good news is you can't screw up anymore. So add to my Starbucks fund. Thank you very much.
Tesla Chargers, you
might be able to get a sandwich now. Nobody can win all the time.
It has charge in the word. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I just charged you for the idea. So I love it. All right. So Jared, you are next. Let's see if you can redeem yourself.
So you said there are no more negatives, or are you lying to us?
You will never know. Well, you will know when we open all the cards.
I'm going to go with, what are fenced yards?
This isn't Jeopardy.
All right. That's exactly. He's asking the question.
All right, fenced yards. This has got to be good, right?
Oof.
One.
Better than negative one.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to kind of flip the script a little bit on this one and say, Jared, what was it that appealed to you about fenced yards as one to pick?
Well, I just get a little more of an experience like I'm in a home. I have a little yard. I can let my pets out. I mean, Ian, how many cats do you have?
Literally zero. Literally zero.
No, but if you include your mom.
It gives you a little area, privacy outdoors. You don't have to go to the dog park to let your dog take a little tinkle.
Okay. I mean, that's
in my experience, you pick out a certain number of units that where there's enough space for a fence yard to come off their balcony, and you can get some decent extra rent for it.
So it's a great idea. If I had a property that had the green space, that was open, didn't interfere with other amenities, and had enough first floor units that it made sense. But I'm looking at things that are a 3 or even a 2 as where they have a more widespread impact. So like where I felt like the washer dryer connections don't make you stand out as much as something like security, you can at least have those in every unit. So hence it was a 2. Because these are limited to a small portion of the overall units, when I'm thinking about where I want to spend my rehab dollars on a property, which affects ultimately at the exit how much profit I'm going to make on the capital gain because it impacts my cost basis every dollar I spend on rehab. I'm really looking for things where I get bang for the buck across the whole rent roll whenever possible. That's going to make me the most return on investment for that cost basis.
All right. You don't like laundromats. That's probably going to be negative. I'm going to say, so reserved parking, you can charge for that, but you don't like chargers, Tesla chargers. So you probably don't like reserved parking. We're on the same wavelength. You get it. So I'm going to say gyms.
I like how you're like psyching yourself up for this. So you're going with gym.
I'm going with gym.
All right, let's find out.
Just because you're a gym rat. You love gyms.
You know, that's a gym gerbil to you. Thank you very much.
Gym gerbil. One? How? No.
So I like to have the gym in the same way I like to have a lot of the things because of the fact that it is part of the leasing tour. But for the demographics in our properties in these neighborhoods, it's not a very popular amenity, believe it or not.
Interesting. Okay.
There you go.
Can't argue that.
All right. So, Jared, what's next?
4 more.
Ooh,
Bring it on.
down
What
to
you
the
got?
low-hanging fruit here. I'm going to say, what is
It's not Jeopardy.
reserved parking?
All right.
I mean, that's income producing. If this is
See what we got.
higher than the Tesla chargers,
This is what you passed on, Ian. So we're going to find out.
if it's 2 or 3,
This is really where you make your money at the end of the draft.
2. Gosh dang it.
That's pretty solid.
I'll take it.
Okay.
So I think we all know the concept of reserve parking, right?
just
One little nuance I'll share with you, Ian, on that is that, and I'm sure Jared knows this, many years in the industry, is that properties I've seen where all of the parking is covered or it's all reserved for the unit that's right next to it, it doesn't perform as well. And the reason is there's really no incentive for people to pay extra for it. If everybody's got a covered parking space, nobody's going to pay for one.
makes sense.
So that's the benefit of covered parking / reserve parking is I look at maybe about 30 to 50% is kind of the bracketed range of the parking that I want devoted to reserved or covered. I like to have the rest of it open parking. But yeah, it's a revenue generator and people like it.
All right. So I guess that was 2.
All right.
Okay.
Ian, you're back up. What you got?
Don't call it a comeback.
Getting down to the last 3.
I don't know.
Don't call it a comeback?
Okay. All right. Here we go. I'm going to say, I mean, revenue generator, garage storage. Like that's additional revenue.
All right. Let's find out if you were right.
Gosh dang, it's going to be negative, isn't it? It's extra revenue.
All right.
A 1. How is it only 1? Okay.
Again, our asset class. You know, this whole board was based on our business model.
Right.
For this vintage of asset, we very rarely see that. On the other hand, a lot of the nicer, newer properties, that's an in-demand amenity that people look for. And a lot of them, there was a period in the 90s in particular where they built a lot of deals in the early 2000s with those garage storage style units on property. And they're very popular with that tenant profile. But, you know, sometimes you got to get out of the basement and go look around and you'll see at your properties, we don't really have them.
I don't know where this basement thing came from.
All right. So what's next? Jared, what you got?
Dog park and laundromat. Gosh.
This is what they call the long con.
What do you mean the long con?
Laundromat.
No,
big bucks.
no way.
Go in laundromat? All right.
That's got to be negative.
Let's find out.
Dogs don't even pay rent.
2? How did you get 2 this late? Gosh, the dog park has to be like 4.
So let me tell you what, a lot of these older properties that don't have the washer dryer connections that we talked about earlier, those laundromats are ATM machines. Cash, you know, also could be a liability. So the devil's in the details on the laundromats. All right. So we got 1 left. All right.
All right, let's see what I get.
So Ian, you are up.
Come on, this has got to be.
Dog park. What you got?
I know you're not a dog guy. You're more of a hamster. You're a hamster guy?
Definitely.
Gerbil.
Gosh dang it, only 1. How did I get so many 1s?
It makes for nice pictures on the website that Jared was talking about earlier for people that are shopping the property. It looks cool. People out there with their dogs looks, you know, very warm and fuzzy. But the reality of it is it doesn't move the needle a whole lot in terms of a profit center. So it's good to have, but it's not a home run.
I don't like it.
Well, you know, famous last words. All right. So you guys got to be pretty close. I feel like y'all
I
had
don't
some wins
know.
and
Okay, hold on.
losses. Let's count them up.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, how many was that? Was that 11? 2, 4, 6.
This is why Ian's not
8.
doing our underwriting, has a hard time counting to 11.
Was that 12? I think I have 12. 1,200. What are you at?
Well, that would make an odd number. I have 11.
No way.
All right. Let me go in here and judge this. I don't know if I believe it.
That's crazy. I had 12. You have 11?
By
Yes,
$100 difference.
I do have 11.
All right. So Ian is our winner.
That's crazy how
by
close we got.
$100. And as the host, I've got $200 of Starbucks money, so I'm feeling pretty good. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a bonus round
Oh boy.
for these $200, and we're going to find out y'all's apartment knowledge
Oh no.
based on this bonus round. This is something that the lender is probably going to require you to do based on a third-party report. Ian.
Appraisal.
Nope. That is a thing, but it's got nothing to do with work that we're going to go do to the property. So you're sort of like, what's your favorite vegetable? Red. Like it's a little out of the genre of the Q&A here. All right, Jared, you're up.
Electrical upgrades.
All right. That's a good answer. It's wrong. You're next up, Ian. What do you got?
Something with sewage.
Nope. Jerry.
Gosh, dang it. What is this?
Carpentry repair.
Ooh, so close, but not correct.
Close. Wait, that's close.
I'm going to give you all another chance to guess.
Okay. The balconies not being sturdy.
Correct. So the line item was balconies, stairwells, landings, and railings. Those are all part of the same line item. It's very dangerous for the residents if you don't take care of it. And the bank would be very concerned about it because it would be at the top of the list for an engineering report that they're going to order under life safety issues.
So here's, I guess, what we could do. So he said safety, right?
Yes.
And you said no. And then I said balcony. So we were both correct. So what we could do is we each get one and then we see who won.
You know, you sound to me a little bit like a communist. I am a capitalist, and I'm going to say that you had the right answer. He had the wrong answer. So you win, he loses, and it's all over but the crying. But hey, you can buy them a cup of coffee, and that'll even the score these days. They're about $100, I think, if you go to Starbucks now. One of the great things about today's game, guys, and obviously a little self-serving here for our company at Track Record Assets, is the property we're buying on the north side of Houston right now, our north side upgrade value add deal that people can invest with us right now if they like to make money and look to double their equity. And of course, there's never a guarantee of what your returns are going to be, but that's our pro forma, is to double our money in this deal over the next 3 to 5 years. That specific project contains almost every single one of the line items that we went over today. Not every single one, but the vast majority of them in one form or another. We have a very detailed renovation budget that exceeds over $3 million for this property, all in things that make the quality of life for the residents better and will allow us to increase the net income from the property and thus increase the value. So we get back more money from cash flow and more money from capital gains someday when we go to sell. We make it a better place to live for everybody in the neighborhood. So a lot of positives there. Looking forward to all the great videos I know you'll be shooting to kind of chronicle our journey and our progress turning that deal around. If somebody wants to do more than just watch it, they want to invest in it, they do have to be an accredited investor so they can qualify, which just means your net worth has to exceed $1 million, not including the equity in your primary residence. But if you are accredited and you'd like to learn more about investing with our team, having a great time, we'd love to have you. All you got to do is go to trackrecordassets.com and you just click on the Contact Us button and submit an inquiry. Let us know that you'd like to learn more, and we'll get you a copy of our deal book and tell you all about it. And we'd love to have you.